feel as if I've done much painting for a while, so I'm going to have a little warm-up play with this bulb of garlic. They're fabulous things to paint and draw. You can get some really interesting shapes and colours. This is actually a violet, they call it, and it's a bit more lilac-y colour. So anyway, I'm going to have a go at painting this. It's just going to be a nice relaxed little warm-up. I've got a puddle of white, as is my wont, because I want that opacity and that colour. That's too dark. I'm going to add a little bit of a slightly mauvey colour. That's probably a bit of ultramarine and alizarin. And I'm going to have more water, and I'm going to go straight in. I'm going to have to move that off a bit so I've got room to manoeuvre. I'm going to start with the top. It's far too dark, but not to worry. Just to get a shape in. And there's the back. You will have a slightly different view. And round here. So I'm just making the outline very roughly with this very pale colour, just to get it started. And that is much taller than I've got it, I think. And round here is where I've actually pulled some of the clothes off so we can see what's going on. And it's interesting to have the skins because it's really papery thin, as I'm sure you know. More water, and let's just blitz that in. So we've got the outline, so to speak. It's supposed to go a bit taller, so let's make that a bit taller. And then the shape behind, there's one and the other one, and that should be a bit round too, and I think we'll have that a lot bigger. Okay, so there's a starting point. Let's fill in that stem a little bit. Now I'm going to pick up a bit of raw umber on my brush, and this is still very wet, but I'm just going to mark inside where we can see inside where the clothes have been poured out, just to give me a little idea of where I'm going with this. And then we've got the joiny bits at the bottom where they've broken off, so just mark those roughly and just soften that off. Now a bit more white with my colour. I'm going to come out and make some of these shapes of the papery leaf. It's not as dark as that in reality, but we'll address that as we go. And I'm going to just dip my brush into a bit of Payne's grey to get that shape of that clove, which goes round like that, and we'll take it up there. And likewise that one, which goes round like that. And we've got the stem in the middle, stem there, and then we've got the raggedy bits of paper, which we will just put, not being exact, but just give it a rough shape. Okay, and then going in a lot darker there underneath. And I'm going to, while that is still fairly damp, I'm just going to put some, this is a number 6 brush by the way, but use what you feel comfortable with. Just some marks of where the lines go, so to speak, in the paper. You could use a nice sharp watercolour pencil for that, that would be good, because then you're going to worry about changing brushes or keeping your line nice and thin. Okay, just rinse the brush off a bit. Now, I actually want to lift some of this off because I've decided it's too dark, so that's okay. Let's just have a bit of water there. And likewise here. But of course these underneath will be getting darker. So I'm going back to the creamy brown, that's raw umber, some white and a bit of a violet colour. And I'm just going to put in some of that colour here underneath the skin bit. And likewise here with that one there. And I've just wet the brush and soften off that edge. Okay, now there's a paper edge on this one which I haven't quite made very clear, so let's make it a bit bolder there. And to make a bit more of this shape in here, we've got a recess and another clove. You can see, well, I expect you can see, I'm not following this exactly. I'm just taking it as the idea of the form, and hopefully when it's done you will be able to recognise it as a bulb of garlic. Right, let's just soften those out, soften that off a bit. I'm not going to worry too much about a bit of colour bleeding, that's not going to be a problem. Right, I'm going back to the raw umber and I want to get this shape of the outer layer. And likewise up here, a few little wispy lines. And now let's just get a bit of that edge of that skin where it wraps round and comes round here. And I don't like that, so let's just soften that out, because there's a lot of stuff going on in here with the excuse me, various layers and such like. And I'm going to just put a really dark bit up there, because that's where it's going under the skin. A bit of the violet colour and a bit of my good old Payne's grey. Let's just soften that out a little bit. And likewise here, in here, some quite dark shadows. This may not be your idea of a painting subject, but you know, sometimes if you're not sure what to paint, just get anything out. Grab a vegetable or a fruit from the basket, because you'll still learn, you're still learning to solve problems as you go. There's a bit of skin there that sort of goes like that. So it's all a good learning and problem solving and colour mixing and thinking, oh, I should have done that, what did I do that for? Let's make that shape a bit better. So hopefully already you're starting to see a shape. I've got to do a lot of problem solving around this central area and around here, but I'm going to let that dry and I'll come back to it in a few moments. Well, that's dried off enough for me to do a bit more now. So I'm going to, what am I going to do? Let's address these bits at the bottom. When I say these bits at the bottom, it's where the clove has been pulled off. So we've got a shape something like that. There I'm using the raw umber with some of the white. And there's a lot of all sorts of stuff going on there. And we're starting to get some nice little, the root bits under there. They're great fun. I've done bulbs of garlic quite a lot actually, and sometimes I've done the truss, you know, where they plait them all together. Right, this is some lines in there, and we want to go a bit darker there. I am going to use, actually, I'm going to use some watercolour pencils because it will save me having to change brush and it will be a bit quicker for the filming. Let's make a bit more of what's going on up here. So we've got a shadow in behind there. And this is really quite dark in here. Well, that's dried off enough for me to do a bit more now. So I'm going to, what am I going to do? Let's address these bits at the bottom. When I say these bits at the bottom, it's where the clove has been pulled off. So we've got a shape something like that. There I'm using the raw umber with some of the white. And there's a lot of all sorts of stuff going on there. And we're starting to get some nice little, the root bits under there. They're great fun. I've done bulbs of garlic quite a lot actually, and sometimes I've done the truss, you know, where they plait them all together. Right, this is some lines in there, and we want to go a bit darker there. I am going to use, actually, I'm going to use some watercolour pencils because it will save me having to change brush and it will be a bit quicker for the filming. Let's make a bit more of what's going on up here. So we've got a shadow in behind there. And this is really quite dark in here. So let's just darken that off a little bit more. And this is a clove here that sort of has a pointy bit up there. Now I've lost the shape of that, so I need to bring it back. So this is the clove and this bit is the skin, the papery skin. Just dipping into the Payne's grey for a bit of something dark around there, and that can run. Right, that is the stem that all the cloves cling to. Let's put some shadows in there just to imply that it's a dark area. Now what I'm going to do, I've got a burnt oxide colour and I'm just going to do a bit of stippling on these bits here, because if you look, coming up to camera, I hope you can see that, there's like little, it's obviously where there's been little roots that have clung to that. So let's just do that, and it's easier to do it with your watercolour pencil. I'm also going to use it for some of the lines up here. And here it's where the skin, there's layers and layers of skin, so let's just put these sort of layery bits in like that. And here we've got a bit of skin coming round. Let's do a bit more shape there, because you can always go back to your watercolour, your paintbrush, sorry, and just fiddle about with these bits. A bit of outside skin needs to be showing up a bit more. Just adding little bits, and you see how then you're activating these watercolour pencil marks, making it look a bit more interesting. Some of these roots. So outlining the papery bit, I haven't bothered with that extra bit there. I'm using artist's license, and so can you. And this again, the shell. Now this needs a lot more attention. I'm going with the mauvey browny colour. A bit more water. Let's anchor it a bit better. I'm exaggerating this violet colour just because I can, and I think it looks nice. So you can play around with this to your heart's content, because you've got a lot of license to play with, because you know nobody's going to know, as long as it's recognisable, we hope. Just create a few folds and things like that. Now I still need some darker bits there to accentuate that that is tucked in under that skin. Whoops. This is Diox Violet. Put a few lines in there, why not? And let's have a few here. Then it sort of connects those two bulbs and makes it look a bit more united. I'm not happy with this bit in here. It's lost the plot. So let's wet it and lift a bit out, and then I can go in and define it a bit better, quite possibly just with the watercolour pencil. I need a bit more. I'm slapping that white on there just to obliterate that a little bit. In fact, I'm going to put a bit on here as well. Don't be worried about using white. I'm not bothered. Sometimes you just need that pastel-y colour or that opacity, something like that. Now we still haven't got the this shadow under the skin. There we go, that's better. I haven't quite got the same shape, but no matter. We can see now that that skin is coming over the clothes within, and we're going to have to do that a bit more here to sort of give it a bit of balance. And under there, that bit of leaf there, that's better. And let's go to the mauvey bit, the purpley bit, the violet. And a bit more here. So you can have a good old play with this to your heart's content. Just soften that off a little bit, and let's just get a bit of shape in that, just with a bit of shadow, look, just gets a bit of shape there. And again, I'm just going to put a bit of more colour up there. Define that a bit. And just a teensy bit more. Get that. So you can really see that it's on top. This is where we get to this bit about colour values and getting the contrast in your work. If everything's all of the same sort of tonal quality, the same depth of colour, the same intensity, it can look a little bit bland. So this is where you want to get that really dark bits in sometimes. Don't be frightened of it. I mean, it's only a bit of paper at the end of the day. This is one of the big things with painting, and certainly when it comes to me teaching, is getting people over the oh, it's got to be perfect, oh, you know, all this business. Just have fun, please. And while you're doing this, when you're really in the flow of it all, it's so satisfying. You don't think of anything else, and you can really play. What's that one? That's the burnt oxide. Let's have a few more. You see, you can pull, look, I can go into that wet and I can fiddle about and pull some roots out. Just put a bit of shading on there just to show more of a 3D quality. I mean, there's so much going on, you know, it's difficult to define it, but you have got, let's put a nice dark line there, I think, and we need to darken that there. And I could go on for ages and ages tweaking and fine-tuning, but I'm going to stop it there because I don't want this video to go on for too long. But I've done lots of pictures. I'll post them somewhere. If you're on my Facebook group, Painting with Nicola, I'll stick some up there and you can have a look there. And maybe we could have a painting course of just doing vegetables. I don't know how popular that would be, but you never know. Okay, I'm going to stop now, as I say, for obvious reasons. It's gone a bit dark in places, but there you go, it's an idea. Now, no sketching was involved, no garlic was hurt in the making of this film, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in my next video. Okay, enjoy your painting.